Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel, and today we're back again with another Alliance quest run in full. And the reason for uploading is because I'm checking out Immortal Abomination and a few other champions, and I think this also kind of makes quite a good showcase for Immortal Abomination, and I will upload like a full review eventually, but I still haven't gotten around to it. But for now I'm gonna show how he fares in Alliance Quest Map 7, and I liked it a lot, definitely. Now, this first fight is like relatively standard. There's Bane and Oscillate, which obviously makes the Bane a bit trickier, and as we can see, I didn't get quite perfect transfer, so I did lose some health. However, obviously Immortal Abomination, with or without Suicide Mastery is active, you do get that healing as well, so you can recover some health. And the first fight wasn't perfect by any means, but went soundly enough. Next fight is Electro, and for that we're going to be bringing in Nick Fury. And obviously you do lose some health using Nick Fury against Electro, but Electro goes down extremely quickly. You don't lose all that much, and the point of Nick Fury kind of here is to counter Void on counter tactics. And he's going to do that perfectly, and the plan for him is to get his life model decoy destroyed anyway, so I'm not too fast how much health I lose here. And the last fight here in my section 1 is going to be up against Luke Cage. I'm going to use Immortal Abomination once again, and this fight actually is going to go quite poorly, but that will also give me a great chance to showcase just how sustainable Immortal Abomination is, and showcase how much he can actually heal up on the course of few fights. So for now we can see that the fight is going relatively alright. I'm doing just about fine. Slow played my combo there to manage the Bane transfer perfectly. Activate my level 2, which is when Immortal Abomination starts to shine. That is one of the bigger drawbacks of Immortal Abomination, because you do have to basically have that level 2 active, and only then you kind of like enter the real phase. And there I got tagged by that level 1 and I lost a ton of health immediately. And we can see that I'm at 25% here already, unfortunately. Now I am slowly but surely starting to heal up a bit, but the main bit of damage is already done. I lost 3/4 of my health, and that's just section 1. And at this point I was actually kind of afraid that I'm not gonna have a good run or good showcase of Immortal Abomination, but I must say he did impress me in tier 2. So this is it. I do not get a chance to deal with any of the mini bosses on this island or the Magneto, but we will have some Magneto action with Unlikely Hero, and there's going to be an Unlikely Failure as well. This run definitely doesn't go perfectly, doesn't go smooth, but I kind of like uploading the videos where you guys see me just mess up due to one reason or another. For instance, today the main culprit was the fact that I was trying to rush these fights later on at work, and my work phone just rang, and that completely threw me off. And yeah, anyways, so at this point we can see that I started the fight with like 20-something% health, and the longer the fight goes, the easier and the stronger, well, not the stronger regeneration is, but the more health I can recover using Immortal Abomination. So that works out quite well for me. I have finally made it to my level 2 when I can inflict my toxic aura or whatever it's called, and I can start poisoning that Gwenpool a lot more actively. She's unblockable at this point, but I'm just about at 10 poisons there. I'm going to drop my level 1 once more. That deals an absolute ton of damage. Once you do collect those 10 poisons on opponent, it's like your big damage window. And I finished this fight with like 41% health, so that's already kind of like a fairly solid bit of recovery. Next up is the Void fight, and Nick Fury by far is the best option of every single champion that I have tested here against that Void. And I will make a mistake again. I could have probably finished this fight off without having my life model decoy destroyed. But yeah, I'll just mess up and eat a level 2, which is still perfectly fine. Ultimately, the idea is to get that Nick Fury life model decoy blasted away anyways. So at this point, I'm getting in there and I'm dropping my level 1. He's nearly dead, and I miss away the level 1, and we can see that that destroyed me immediately. but since the fight was already almost over, all I had to do was drop level 1 and finish it off. Now there are going to be a couple of very, very interesting fights, because I'm going to take that Angela linked, because the link on her is this track, and obviously Immortal Abomination inflicts a ton of debuffs on opponents, so I wasn't like bothered about that at all. And the fact that she gains some more attack and health, I didn't care about it too much either, namely because this is counter tactics node anyway, so they all end up having like a huge attack, and I hardly can take any blocked damage no matter how I look at it. So I was like, yeah, I'll just go in with the link active and it should be fine. So obviously it's not the smartest decision ever made in history of MCOC, but it's gonna work out just about fine, because yeah, I can manage her own healing and reverse it. That's perfect. I can place a plethora of debuffs on Angela to bypass this track. I still have Resonate Mastery active from variant 6 as well, and you get the Petrify, you get Poisons, so pretty much the entire fight I do have more than 3 debuffs active on her. And there is another added benefit, if you will, because the longer this fight goes, the longer time I have to heal up, and we can see that at this point I'm already past 50% health, and at my lowest I was at like what, 25%. So in the course of a couple of fights I have recovered a significant portion of my health bar. And this fight, even though she's linked, is already coming to an end in like minute and 30 seconds. Because once you do activate at level 2, your damage output is definitely quite solid, and you can get some job done there. So next fight is Venom now. I'm still going to bring in my Immortal Abomination. And Venom, it's a relatively straightforward fight, but the biggest problem, I believe, not just me, but pretty much everybody has against Venom, is that flailing, aggressive AI and those quick animations, and sometimes he just tags you when you try to dash away from him. But this time we're just going to be extra careful. But as a matchup itself, it's quite intriguing, because it's like one huge monster up against another. It's quite cinematic in my opinion, and it's also quite funny because Venom's all about gaining those buffs on himself, and he has like a ton of buffs, and Immortal Abomination's all about putting those debuffs on. So you can see that under Venom's health bar, he has like a ton of stuff going on. He has a plethora of different buffs. Then he has Petrify, Poison, and all sorts of different debuffs as well. Weakness from Resonate. So it's just a very crowded section there on the screen. And yeah, slowly but surely, Immortal Abomination at 71% health here. Just trying to get that level 1 baited out. He's nearly at level 2, so I have very, very little room for error. And luckily he does throw it. As soon as he does, I go back in, and he's pretty much down as he throws that level 1. The poison damage takes over. Now at this point, this Wolverine still had 2 links on. I considered maybe to go in and take this fight double linked, but I also saw that my teammate on the left side was clearing one of those links off, so I'm gonna end up taking this Wolverine just with 1 active link, which is again the Despair, and not Despair, the Wajuma, flip it. Lost a word all of a sudden. This track, yes, there we go, this track, where you have to have 3 debuffs, and obviously, once again, that isn't really an issue. And on top of all of that, Immortal Abomination works perfectly to suppress Wolverine's healing again, and even able to reverse it, especially after I throw my level 1. So again, 74% health. I have pretty much recovered, and I think based on this result, I'll probably end up using Immortal Abomination for some more days in Alliance Quest, because I did enjoy it. It's a new champion, and having an opportunity to play something in Alliance Quest that you haven't really had a chance to play with a lot is refreshing, and I do like it. And I did definitely enjoy how well Immortal Abomination dealt with adversity, with me making a mistake and dropping down to 20+% health, and then slowly being able to regen back. So yeah, I think I'm going to be bringing in Immortal Abomination for some of the next days as well. So here at this point I go for another level 2. The reason why I didn't go for level 1 is because I do want to have poison debuff active on me, but I didn't want to have too many poisons because I do want to maximize the healing. Unfortunately, there I took a hit in a block and end up finishing only with 72% health. And now here's going to be like the first fail of the day. I saw moments later here that Magneto's link has come down, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna test my luck. I don't really need Immortal Abomination for anything in section 2, and I want to see how I'm gonna do. And then I'm going to make a very big mistake because I tried to punish that heavy attack and I mistimed it slightly, because there is a very tight space of an opening where you can punish after that unblockable goes down. But yeah, I effectively just landed one 5-hit combo before I got smacked in the face. And then a while later, I think this was already like past my lunchtime, I noticed that Magneto still alive, and I figured I want to see how Nick Fury does, because with Parry Curse, Magneto is actually very tricky here, because obviously because of Flux Dispersal, you want to land your parries in order to heavy attack and in order to kind of reset it. But I had a bit different plan in this fight. I'm going to ignore the Flux Dispersal because Flux Dispersal reduces the amount of damage he's taking from my hits, but it isn't reducing damage over time effects. So I'm just going to ignore Flux Dispersal, rely on my damage over time effects. But there is obviously the second catch. Magneto is 90% bleed resistant, which is less than ideal if you're using Nick Fury. But then I had the second idea where he's 90% bleed resistant to debuffs. If I get to my inner bleeds, I think that should still do the normal damage. Kind of like how Silver Surfer doesn't take shock damage, but he takes damage from EMP modification. So my goal effectively would be to simply try and get the inner bleeds active. And we're going to see how that works out, right? So we have 3 bleeds here, 4 bleeds. I also obviously want to play it as safe as possible, not to push him to level 2s. I can avoid the level 2, but still sometimes you slip up. So at this point he has 6 bleeds. I get my first inner bleed, and we can see that it's actually ticking for 800. And at that point I realized that that is definitely the way to go. And I'm going to focus the rest of this fight just to try and get the inner bleeds active. Now my biggest mistake was probably that I pushed myself to 3 bars of power. I shouldn't have done that, and if I had dropped my level 2s I would be able to get more inner bleeds on Magneto. But still, even though I did make that mistake, we can see that with 2 inner bleeds we're dealing some significant amount of damage, and the 3-minute timer, well, it's quite short for these mini boss fights if you're up against like 100k PI Magneto. But since he was already significantly chipped down, I don't think if you play this perfectly you would be able to solo, but I think with Nick Fury you can take vast majority of his health down if you just focus on getting the inner bleeds active, as I am here. And we can see that he's at this point at like 2%, 1%, and yeah, Nick Fury finishes the fight. So it's an unlikely matchup that just once again kind of shows how good and cool Nick Fury is with his unblockable and everything else. And next up we have Killmonger, and obviously I brought in Warlock for this lane mainly because it's delirium and robots are immune to that. But this fight actually goes very annoyingly poorly. I kind of even want to speed it up because Killmonger is gonna not want to cooperate with me very well, and I'm gonna make a mistake as well where Warlock's level 2 is gonna whiff after my first medium. That's another thing that I really hate. Like, one of the things on this fight is because Killmonger has strike back active, I always have to be very careful when I throw my level 2s and armor break him. And before I throw my level 2, I don't want to give him too much power, but at the same time, if I only land one hit before my level 2, for whatever reason, it has a tendency to whiff, which is like super annoying. Like here we can see it connected just fine. I just landed the medium, it connected, absolutely no problems. I can go in, smack him about. And we could see that before as well, he didn't want to throw his special attack at all. But there's going to be another moment in this fight where I'm going to be close to my level 2, and I'm gonna do exactly the same thing, and it's just gonna whiff and end up hitting his block, and obviously that's gonna prolong the fight significantly. So at this point, I just want him to get to level 2. I want to bait out that level 2, which happens immediately, and we're gonna see it right now. So I drop my level 2, and it just whiffs, and he manages to block everything. Super annoying. But I still didn't give up, obviously. Still have plenty of time. He's at like 40%. I have 1 minute 20 seconds left. I have taken quite a lot of reverb damage, and unfortunately the fact that this level 2 didn't connect, I didn't get those longer armor breaks from level 2 at end of level 2. And here on top of it all, he doesn't want to throw his special attacks again. And I don't know, this fight was a lot more annoying than it normally is, truth be told. But still, slowly but surely, Warlock's doing what he's meant to do. And Parry Curse isn't helping the matters here at all as well. Make mistakes, strike his block. But here, once more, I want to bait out that level 2. He goes unblockable, unfortunately. So I'm this time going for a 3-hit combo before my level 2, and that worked out better. I did connect it. And I do make another mistake, because I forgot that he's unblockable. Again, all of these last fights will be done quite big rush, because I had like fairly stressful day at work. And yeah, now this is already a while later, and I'm still finishing off my inverted controls path. And since Warlock wasn't like in the best shape, I just figured I'll try to use Nick Fury till I mess up, because quite often I do just about fine. I have had a fair amount of practice with reverse controls, and Nick Fury's damage output obviously is super helpful, and he finished this fight out in like 20 seconds, not even that. Next up, Captain America Infinity War. Still, Nick Fury is relatively healthy, so I'm bringing him in. But the biggest whoopsie moments are going to come against the Medusa, as they often do, especially I noticed on the Parry Curse days. But yeah, the Captain America is just melting away here. 2 combos in, he's at like 14%, and I just need to land one more combo and I'll be just fine. The fight's over. So these were very simple, but Medusa is obviously trickier because of that auto block. So I'm going in with Nick Fury, and I'm going to start fine. I even land an intercept on reverse control, so I was quite happy about that. Land another combo, and she's absolutely melting away. She's at 20% here at this point, and I'm going to go and trigger that auto block on purpose. And there I was just a fraction too slow. I knew she's going to throw that heavy attack, because that was the point. And the time it took for my brain to reprocess that I'm in reverse controls, I just messed up. And then I went in with Warlock, and I completely forgot about Parry Curse. So I parried and I tried to heavy. Obviously, stun expired, and within a few seconds I lost both of my champions. So I do end up using a revive, a small single revive, but nonetheless I was quite annoyed by it, because I thought I'm in the clear. I will have finished my run without using any items and having a cool video to show, but I managed to ruin it for myself towards the end by just being absolutely careless. And now she has like 10% left, and I just need to be very, very careful. I don't want to like parry or take any block damage, because I don't have any health. But yeah, now this time that I remember that I'm up against Parry Curse, fight was much simpler. But as a upside, we do have another Immortal Abomination fight because of it, because even though I butchered this poor guy against Magneto immediately, now that I have revived him, he has class advantage, and he was the perfect champion to bring in against this Dr. Voodoo, because he heals up. So I could give him a small revive and just slowly but surely build his health bar back up, which again just encourages me to try and use this guy a bit more in Alliance Quest. I like that he's tanky, he regens, deals decent amount of damage. So yeah, this beautiful little green beast is starting to grow on me. But yeah, so Dr. Voodoo is the final fight. I actually did chip in for Apocalypse boss much later on, but I didn't record that because it was literally just kind of like banging champions against the wall towards the end to make sure he goes down in time. But let me know, what did you guys think about how Immortal Abomination did in this Alliance Quest? Do you like these full Alliance Quest runs? And if you do, let me know what other champions possibly would you like to see besides Immortal Abomination and some of the runs later in this week with different modifiers, so on and so forth. Additionally, tell me, what do you guys think about using Nick Fury against Magneto? I was quite, I'm not gonna say proud, but well, I felt good about myself that I figured out that I can use the inner bleeds to deal solid amount of damage and actually managed to finish it out. But yeah, that is it, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya! Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about